Octopath Traveler 0 is the game that made me fall in love with turn-based RPGs again. A little background, there was a point in my life where I only ever played RPGs. Like, I swear that's all my DS was for. It was either Final Fantasy or Pokemon. However, once Pokemon stopped hitting like it used to, I basically dropped RPGs along with it. And I had picked up Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 when they came out, but I only ever put a few hours into each game. I'd kind of expected the same outcome whenever I picked up Octopath 0, but whenever I tell you this is one of the greatest games that I've ever played. It's a bit different from other Octopath games. Rather than having your 8 playable characters with only 4 in a fight, there's actually 36 playable characters with 8 in every fight. And with 8 characters in a fight, there's tons of strategy that you really have to think about during this game. You can swap characters from the front to the back row. Normally the back row would do nothing, but there are abilities that you equip to your characters. I personally equipped all my characters with the sniper mastery, so at the end of the turn they hit an enemy with a basic attack. This really helped just melt enemies, melt bosses. It also helped because enemies are weak to a certain weapon type or magic type, and those back row hits help towards breaking the enemy. And once you break an enemy, from what I can tell, maybe the mechanics are different from what I interpreted. Once you break an enemy, every hit hits like it's super effective against that enemy. You will be doing massive damage once an enemy is broken. And speaking of enemies and fights and all that, the boss fights in this game, cool as hell. I really didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be a more grounded RPG, but there are definite fantastical elements whenever it comes to this game. And I gotta say, each boss fight posed its own challenge. Like, entering into the boss fight, I always felt on edge, just because they are pretty damn challenging. A lot of your stats are tied to equipment, and to be real with you, getting money in this game is not something you easily come across. It really makes you use your path options more. With path options, you can trade with certain NPCs, you can fight them for certain gear, or you can just bribe them. You can say, hey, I'm a cool guy, let me get that gear you got. You also have items in the game called nuts, which I thought were like battle items from Pokemon. I really did. I didn't realize they were permanent stat boosts. So as soon as I figured that out, I went on a little nut adventure, asking everyone for their nut. I don't care if they were fortitude nut, attack nut, they're slippery nuts, all the nuts, I need them. But if we move over to story, it follows your protagonist and it's divided into 8 separate chapters. Each chapter is its own story with 8 tying it all together. And this game really surprised me. I won't get into any spoilers, but I swear anytime I was charmed by a character and like the cutscenes, just the gameplay in general, I swear every single one of them died. Square Enix will make sure everyone that you care about dies. The only people that didn't die were just asshole characters. Sometimes they died because you killed them, but unless you kill them, they get to live. It's some bullshit, Square Enix. Chill out with that. And then you just have the overall world of Orstera. There were plenty of times I would just go off exploring in this world. I'd be in late game areas earlier than intended. I'd be finding towns that I wasn't supposed to know about. And a lot of that comes down to, it's a fun game to walk around in. You find new enemies, you learn how to fight them. The entire world, the story, the gameplay, everything is just great in this game. And graphically, the game has the HD 2D art style that Square has been perfecting. And it has not disappointed since they showed it off. I believe in Live Alive was the first game to have it. HD 2D art style, damn, it just looks so good. And then of course the music. I feel like any RPG has to have good music, has to get you pumped up for the fight. Because it's not like super graphically appealing whenever you're fighting. There are certain moves that, they just look cool. No, the music really carries this game. I do have a few complaints though. Recruiting new members to your party is pretty simple. Normally you just meet up with them, they're marked on the mini-map, you talk with them and they're just like, fuck it, I'll join you. And then the side stories in general, I think there were some that I thought was interesting, but I couldn't even tell you about them because they don't have enough content there in the side stories. Sometimes people are asking for a certain item. Sometimes it's, hey, go here, talk to this person, use your path actions here. I just think the game, honestly, it could have done without side stories in general, because the main story does carry the game. At no point was I bored with the main story. But yeah, after all that, I'm going to be giving Octopath Traveler a 9 out of 10. I don't think it quite hits that perfect 10 out of 10 mark, but it is so damn close to hitting that perfect 10 out of 10 mark. And honestly, it makes me super excited for what they do with Octopath 3. I think if they continue in this direction and they go ahead and give us all 8 party members playable during every fight and really perfect that story, I think Octopath 3 might be a 10 out of 10 game. Like I said, 0 is super close to 10 out of 10, but doesn't quite hit it.